Hello and welcome to Castle's Corner, and today we're going to be doing another review video since you all seem to enjoy it so much, and I guess I watch this stuff anyways when it gets sent to me, so let's just watch it together. I'm going to go ahead and hit play now. I got it all pulled up, so let's check this out.
More than 7,000 Brits are on sickness benefit as they are declared too fat to work and cost the taxpayer more than 28 million in benefit payments last year alone.
Well, with us now is mum of one, Jay Cole, who weighs 22 stone. She's fit to work and claims she's desperate for a job. But employers won't hire her because she says she's overweight. She says company bosses are fattest and argues that she shouldn't have to lose weight to get a job.
Then there's businesswoman Katie Hopkins, who admits as an employer she would never... Then there's...
I mean, just right there, that's silly. Depending on what job you're applying for, you cannot be 300 pounds. So let's just say she wanted to work at Hooters, for example, or, you know, a tight environment, I don't know, office work, anything like that. You can't be 300 pounds and get those jobs. So the employers are absolutely right to turn you down in those particular cases, on top of, I mean, many other things I can think of, but you guys get the idea. Let's continue.
Hire someone overweight because they are lazy and lack ambition. So there could be fireworks here. And welcome to both of you. Jay, let's start off with you first. There could be fireworks.
I agree 100% with Katie Hopkins, and I hope she explains why. If she won't, I will.
Now, you have had a job, haven't you?
Yeah, I've had. Yeah,
you had a job which you did. It was a 6 hours a week job, and you did that for a year.
Yeah.
So you have been employed.
Hold up. 6 hours a week job?
Yeah, I was the same size then.
Yeah. So you were.
Okay, so I just paused that, guys. I heard that right. So that was 6 hours a week job for a year. I think she's actually making Katie's point for her at this point when she says they're lazy. But let's continue.
At that stage.
Yeah.
Why did that job come to an end?
Because I had a dispute about like timekeeping. They tried to say that I was late, and to me I wasn't late, and it just seemed like they wanted.
So you're worried about timekeeping for a 6 hour job? Okay, now let's carry on.
To push me out because I was there when the other dinner ladies were there, and they never said anything to them, or they never got pulled in.
So a dinner lady, I'm not sure exactly what context that would be, but I presume, you know, food service of some form. And I'm actually surprised she wasn't more on time for that.
Yeah. I did, and like one instant at there, my little girl was poorly, and I phoned up and said I can't come into work today because my little girl's poorly. I've got no one to look after her. I went back, and they accused me of being in KFC, which I wasn't. Apparently, someone saw me in KFC.
So what sort of jobs have you gone for after that?
I've gone for everything I've done: cleaning, retail, nursery nurse, teaching assistants. I've tried everything.
So you say that you have gone for job interviews, and you can see it in their eyes that you're not going to get the job.
You're walking through.
I would actually agree again with this. I mean, let's not talk about what I do now, because as a coach, obviously, I don't turn people down because they're overweight. That's a little bit different. But let's talk about when I was a chef. When I was a chef, I would routinely have, I mean, at any given time, if we were hiring dozens of applicants, and almost on site for the vast majority of them, I could turn them down. You can turn them down for any number of reasons. You don't even have to give a reason, and I doubt very much any of these employers actually did say it was because she was overweight. I would never say that, even though in some cases it might be. I don't remember the gentleman's name, but at one point in time I had a prep cook apply who was well over 500 pounds. There's no consideration there. I'm not going to have you work for me in my kitchen. Lots of reasons. I mean, maybe we'll get into it later. But you can turn people down because they're clearly have mental concerns. You can turn people down because they are drug addicts, very erratic behavior, very strange. You can turn people down because they showed up to the interview late. You can turn people down for no reason other than you get a bad vibe from them. This is very common. This is kind of how it works. When you're going to a hiring, you're going as a whole package. And presenting yourself the way she does, regardless of what the job she just listed, it doesn't come presented as a very well put together package. Let's just say that for now, guys.
To a room, and you just see their expressions. They don't expect to see what they see on the paper. You walking into a room, you can see they're just like, oh, you just see
like
it.
A disappointment.
Yeah, you can see it automatically.
Because you are, I mean, you're qualified, aren't you?
Yeah.
You've got qualifications.
I've got qualifications, I've got all my GCSEs, I've got a level 2 diploma. I stayed at school till I was 19.
And at the moment, I mean, you are on benefits at the moment, you look after your child.
I'd just like to point out that you have no obligation to even complete school to have a well-paying job or even to apply for most jobs, and especially the last couple of years, no one actually cares about your schooling. They care if you're a good worker or not, if you show up on time or not, etc. I can testify to this after hiring people for well over 10 years.
You're doing that, you do an open university course.
To be a teacher.
You want to work.
Yeah, I want to work. This isn't like, I don't want to be on benefits. I've been on benefits since I was 18. And it's not something I want to be on. It's not something that I would be proud of.
She's been on benefits since she was 18. And she has a child. And she's 300 pounds. Would you hire her? Just curious.
This is, we have to ask questions for everybody here, so this is, you know, be very careful what you say because people do get terribly upset when you ask questions like this. But I'm about to say, if you go to all that work to get your qualifications, you want to go to the job interviews, what prevents you from thinking, do you know what, obviously being this size is affecting my chance of getting a job, I'll lose weight?
But why should I have to change who I am? You shouldn't just have
Okay, why should I have to change who I am? Check it out. You want to be a Hollywood actor in a blockbuster movie and you're an attractive woman, but they tell you to lose 10 pounds? Will you be complaining that you had to lose 10 pounds to be a star in a movie? No. Okay, if you're 310 pounds, somewhere in that range, and every single job application you go to is, in her opinion anyways, giving you the eye that you are well overweight for this position. And I'd like to remind everybody, at the moment, everybody is trying to get jobs. Everybody is always trying to get jobs. And if she's competing with, I don't know, just 5 or 10 other people who want the job, and any of those other people have an actual work history. She doesn't even sound like she has a work history. She's been on benefits since 18. They don't have a child. Again, they won't have to be concerned with taking sick days, etc. for the child, attending child's plays, and all these other things. They're not a single mother. She sounds like she's a single mother. That in itself has a lot of problems, and being overweight automatically means you will be slower than somebody else unless it's like a digital job. It automatically means a lot of things you can interpret about the person because of their actual size. And yeah, you should have to change for some jobs if you want that job, or get a job that doesn't require you to change. I mean, I don't know what that would be in your case because you seem to be incapable of most work efficiently, but I would always give it to somebody who literally takes care of their body, doesn't have a complicated life, over someone like you.
You shouldn't, to have a job, it is about qualifications. That's why you do that. You don't go for a job interview because you look a certain way. If you looked a certain way, there would be so many, the world would be boring. Everyone is who they are. So,
yeah, but again, to look a certain way, yes, certain jobs you do have to look a certain way. I mean, I know the world's getting really confused nowadays with Tess Hollidays being called models, etc. But no, there is a standard of beauty. Not everyone can attain that standard of beauty. That's why there is a hierarchy of beauty. There are going to be ugly people and there are going to be beautiful people. Some will always be more beautiful than others, and that's just the way that it is. But you can't expect to be putting average-looking people, or frankly, far below substandard-looking people like her, and advising people, hey, look at me, I'm in a position of power. You should also look at me like this is a good way to look. But moving forward, each job, yeah, you do have to have certain qualifications to look a certain way. Can she be a fireman? Can she be any law officer? Can she work in any physical capacity whatsoever? No. So all of those jobs are immediately stricken off.
They're meant to look.
What do you think they're thinking? Like, what do you think an employer is thinking? Why do you think that they don't?
They think fat people are lazy, they're not capable, they're inactive, and they can't do what a normal-sized person, well, what is a normal-sized person meant to be, can do.
I would agree. She said everything perfectly right. Yeah, so I could literally give you hundreds of things off the top of my head that anyone who wasn't 300 pounds, even people with physical disabilities, could do that you cannot do. So yes. How about go up a flight of stairs carrying a box? Can you do that without dying?
Yes, I think that's fair. I think, if you look at somebody that is your size, I think your immediate reaction, and it is those perceptions, those first reactions that do matter, no matter what we say, the reaction you get is, would I want to put someone in front of a client that looks like this? Would I want them to think, do they look dynamic? Do they look disciplined? Do they look highly efficient? Well, no, speaking frankly. And therefore, Jay wouldn't be someone that I would employ. And we have to recognise there's lots of other people queuing up behind her for that job, so I have a lot of other choices.
But like I just said, she just brought it up again. There are always lots of people who want your job. People who actually have a work history, who go out of their way to continue learning and improving their skill sets. I haven't heard her say anything about attempting to improve her skill sets.
To me because of the way I look, my size, because I come across, to me, I think I come across as well-spoken, well-mannered. I have the qualifications on the paper, and just because I walk in and I'm 10 size dress bigger than, say, you, and you think, no, she's not having the job, because that is why I am here today, because that is proven there is such thing as fatism.
Because I would look at you and I would think, well, I can choose from 20, 30, 200 other people.
That's like, if you
but also, I would look at you and I would think, as a small business as we are, there is potential for there to be sickness-related issues to do with.
Just real quick, she just made an excellent point. Just again, quite frankly, if you are overweight, even if you are young and overweight, you are going to have significantly higher, let's just say, likelihood of having health complications for a large number of reasons I'm not going to bother getting into. Before you guys get mad at me, no, you cannot be fat and healthy. You can be fat and moving and functional and living, but that doesn't mean you're healthy, and it does mean you're deteriorating whether you've noticed it or not, and these complications will come up at some point or another. Just kind of depends on when.
I did have a day off sick due to myself at work.
But that is a fact. We lost 16.8 billion last year for sickness,
and that would worry me. If you worked for me, it's my employment, I'd be like, I don't want to hire you because I don't like the look of you. You'd probably then try and sue me or along them lines.
I would say to you, this is an issue. People have this opinion, which you admit.
Yeah, I know.
And so why don't you think, well, if I am going to compete, if I am going to get myself off benefits, which I really want to,
but you wouldn't ask someone of a different colour to change their colour to get a job, because there is such thing as fatism and there is such thing as disability. So you wouldn't ask someone that's got a disability, you've got to not be disabled.
I think maybe
you can't
people,
get that job.
I just say that people would perhaps.
Saying that you're fat is the same thing as saying you're the same as somebody with a disability is. I'm not even going to begin to get started on that. I think we all know how absolutely ridiculous that is.
Say that if you have no reason to, no ability to change your colour.
Yeah, no.
And you have no ability to change your disability.
Yeah, but then some people that are overweight like me, I have polycystic ovaries and I have a slow thyroid problem, so it is difficult for me to lose weight.
Here we go. So this is another bullshit excuse that these fat victims will always be using about their bullshit slow thyroid. Real quick, just so everybody listening, who literally anyone who wants to know, there's no such thing. Doesn't happen. Now, medically, there are similar things. There are things like, I'm not going to get into it, but there's similar things. But here's the thing. Regardless of if your thyroid is working efficiently or not, or even if you have a thyroid or not, they have medication for that. That medication is always covered as a necessity. It's not cosmetic, meaning it's covered by anyone who has insurance. And even if you don't have insurance, you can still get it for fairly cheap if you wanted it.
So it is difficult for me to lose weight. So it's not something you can just do.
But I do find, if I may, but I do find that it's always someone else's problem. It's always the job centre's problem. You applied, you said...
Actually, she doesn't have a problem with
that.
It's everyone else.
We're talking about this application for jobs as if she's been hugely diligent in this. She's applied for 12 jobs in 5 years.
That's about...
Holy shit! So once again, thank you. I didn't know that. Katie Hopkins, I don't know if they mentioned this earlier and I missed it, but she has applied to 12 jobs in 5 years. Let that sink in. 12 jobs in 5 years, okay? My first week out of college, I must have applied to 100 jobs, okay? The last time I had to look for a job, God knows when that was, but I was on the computer day and night. I was doing, 2 to 3 interviews a day until I found a job I liked. This is insanity, 12 interviews in 5 years.
Applied for jobs.
That's what your article says.
No, the article said that I have been to 12 interviews in 5 years.
Okay, well that's hardly.
But I've applied for so many jobs.
12 interviews to me is almost the same thing. Just real quick, I mean it's basically the same thing. You apply to 12 jobs. Perhaps you had to go to 12 places to get those applications. I mean, you can even do the job interview while you're there if you're lucky. It's the same shit.
Applied for so many jobs, but the thing is, where there is so many people going for jobs at the moment, that I am not getting the interviews.
But they can't see you when they look at the application.
When I do go for the interviews, you can see by their face they're disappointed.
Yes, and that's fair. So if you know that,
we're all talking at the same time here. Let's just listen.
Yeah. So she says when she goes to the interviews, she can see their faces. But the thing is, when you apply online, they don't know what you look like. You don't apply with a photo unless things in Europe are different than they are in America. You don't apply with a photo. They don't know. They're just judging you based on your qualifications. Now, if based upon her qualifications, she was only called in 12 times, let's just say she applied, 300 times in 5 years, which is still pathetic, and she only got, let me make it 1,000 times. She made 1,000 job applications in 5 years, and she got interviewed 12 times. That says, guess what? You don't actually have a very good work history. You don't have skills.
Hang on a second. You say that you have applied for a great many jobs.
Loads of jobs.
Right.
I'm on all the jobs.
How do they know what size you are when you apply?
I'm not saying that when I apply for a job that it's to do with your size. Also, I know it's not just like if you apply for a job, they can't see what you look like. So I know it's not just my size. It's hard to explain. So
you're not qualified for the jobs that you've gone for?
No, I am qualified because I go for jobs that you have to have your GCSEs for. And I know that it's tough at the moment to get a job or a job interview. But it's, for example, I went for a job interview Friday. And someone I know went for the same interview with me, and you had to do a mental maths test before it. I passed the mental maths test, she never. She's a size 10, big bosoms, looks good, and she got the job and I didn't, but she actually failed the test before.
So what? I fail to see how that makes any sense whatsoever. Your friend has actually probably also been working. You've been unemployed, it sounds like, for 5 years. You don't think that counted against you? I mean, your friend being more attractive, yeah, that probably counted against you too. She was probably nicer too, and she probably spoke better than you do, and she probably didn't have a big victim card on her forehead.
So they hired the person who was less qualified?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say that's because looks still matter. You know, if somebody walks into a room, you have an immediate impression of what you think that person's able to do.
But that's
unfair. I'm just finishing. The way someone shakes your hand, that gives you an impression of the sort of person they're going to be. And it may be unfair, but it's totally within your remit. I'm just going to finish. It's totally within your remit to do something about it, and you're choosing not to.
Every little bit counts. Don't forget, get your finger exercise in and help me out at the same time. Like, share, comment, and subscribe.
It's totally within your remit to do something about it, and you're choosing not to.
That could only take you so far. That might get your foot in the door of somewhere, like we're saying, but that won't take you through. That won't carry you through.
No, like the girl now, she's told the employees, I can't do this job.
But then there's another side, isn't there? There's another side to this. Because you've been unemployed for such a long period of time, that counts against you. Because you were let go from your other position for timekeeping, I appreciate that was disputed. That counts against you. There are many factors counting against you, and I think you really have to say, in order to get across those...
How are you late to a 6-hour-a-week job? I don't understand that.
Factors, to bridge those factors, you need to really make that change.
Yeah, but I have
and that's why, as an employer, I have to be honest and say I would never employ someone on the side.
The trouble is, it would appear that we live in, this is the world that we live in.
Yeah.
This is unfair as it appears to be, certainly in your case, this is the way it is. And the trouble is also, I was reading the other day that for one job, there were 2,000 applicants. So
I appreciate that, I understand that, but it is, you can see it, like if you walk into a room and someone looks at you and just automatically writes you off. You walk into a room and you shake their hand and you say, nice to meet you, and they're like, you can see them like, oh yeah, nice to meet you. You don't expect that from someone that's employing people.
Behind her are 2,000, you just quoted from a job we recognised from last week, 2,000 other people who are equally able. or someone who is equally qualified, has the same GCSE, same history, I will pick the other person because that is a differentiator.
Well, that's what's
and you
got to be
cannot argue-
sorted. That
you
should be
can make
allowed.
That
That is
phase.
discrimination.
Reality
That
is
can't
not
be the
always
case.
right, but we have to be honest about it, and we need people that will tell it.
There is no world where you get to be 300 pounds and you are also healthy and you can also tell people that you care about your body and you are disciplined. Okay? No, you're not, and no,
There should
you
be something
don't.
done. There should be a discrimination against or something, because there's proof here that it does exist.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with any of that,
No.
but I do think where we have a benefit system that allows people to continue to make their way through life without needing to make the change, I think it doesn't help. I think unless we're aggressively pursuing careers in this competitive job market, you're not going to get a job, and I'm just trying to be honest
Yeah, but
about
I am
the sorts of
aggressive.
change
I am
we need to
aggressive.
make.
I am applying. I am doing everything that any other person would do. And just because I weigh more,
She doesn't even have any skill sets. She's never even spoken about how she's been improving her skill sets. Again, if I was 300 pounds, the only jobs I would be applying for would be at-home jobs where I could sit my undisciplined, slobby, unhealthy ass at my computer and do easy-to-follow digital work that I could probably cheat on to get around from my boss and still get paid for. This is what most of them do. She is, I don't know if she's deluded or she actually thinks she can do a normal job as well as a normal functioning human being, but she simply cannot. I can't think of a single job she could, as she so put it, do as well as a normal sized person. And that's the fact. She will always be slower. She's, again, probably always going to be late, just judging by what she said earlier. She's always going to be playing a victim. This is a person who will always bring drama to the office. This is the same way, by the way. You don't hire people who have purple and yellow and pink spiky hair and 17 different piercings unless you want to hire them for Hot Topic. They are problems. They bring drama around the workplace. Everyone else has to coddle them. They're in HR every other day. And yeah, again, I am speaking from experience, 10 years of hiring people, over 10 years of hiring people. And you turn down these kinds of people from experience because they completely destroy the work environment the worst kind of parasitical way. I have so many stories I could tell you. Real quick. One time I had a prep cook who actually was very similar to this lady, except she was also partially deaf. She faked a fall, literally the most horrible thing I've ever seen on camera, clearly faked, and then she was paid by the Marriott to go to work and sit for 2 hours a day. The other 6 hours of the day, Marriott paid for her physical rehab, which was her relaxing on a massage bed, getting massaged for 6 hours a day, okay? They paid for all of this. This was her. And she got a paycheck at the end of the week, normal paycheck, okay? She sucked the system dry at every chance, and it was impossible to fire her. I tried for over 5 years to fire this parasite. Food for thought, guys.
just because I weigh more than a certain person, I'm not getting a job, and that should not
But
be
the
allowed.
answer to that sits with you.
No, it
Let's
does
leave
not.
it there. Let's leave.
Katie said it best. The answer sits with you. Same thing in any field. Take the fat out of it. If you're not qualified, you're not going to get the job. If you don't look a certain part and the job requires you to look a certain part, you're not going to get the job. If the job is for an obvious female applicant and a male applies, he's not going to get the job. If a male who's attempting to pass off as a woman applies for the job and the job is for an attractive woman, he's not going to get the job. This is how it works. If she goes at 300 pounds and applies for a job as a construction worker, they're going to turn her down because she's going to have heat stroke in 5 minutes and sue the company. This is the real world, crazy lady, and the answer does rest with you. If you stop spending all of your benefit money on Twinkies and sugar and you just started walking, eating normal, healthy food, why don't you read some books, improve your skill sets, and apply for jobs that actually make sense for someone of your size and actually apply? Doesn't sound like you're doing that either. You'd probably be successful. But let me know, guys, what am I being? Am I being rude? Am I being silly? Am I being ridiculous? Am I having no empathy for this person? Am I completely wrong? Or what do you guys think? This is my opinion based on well over 10 years of hiring people. I don't know how many hundreds, of working with how many people, I don't know. Now, coaching, I don't know how many hundreds of people out of being fat and seeing the behaviors and habits they exhibit and getting them into normal lifestyles. It's very difficult to do, and it's because it's a mental shift, it's a lifestyle shift, and in they will literally just cling to their old selves no matter what. And it's very difficult to get out of that. Now, can you do it? Sure. Or is it easy? Absolutely. Does it take time? Yep. Can you have an ego and do it? Nope. Can you do it if you think you know everything? Nope. Can you do it if you think, well, this is me, this is my body, I'm just screwed over and it's out of my control? No, you can't. These are all negative mindsets. You're never going to be successful. If you are any of these people who are freaking very unhealthy and this weight and unable to get a job, maybe listen to what I said. Start reading, building skill sets, walking while listening to educational podcasts, applying for jobs daily with a minimum requirement of 100 jobs a day. Apply for jobs that make sense for you. But anyways, in the comments, guys, let me know if you want to see more of this kind of content and what you think.
Facts, don't care about feelings, ain't no.
Every little bit counts. Don't forget, get your finger exercise in and help me out at the same time. Like, share, comment, and subscribe.